Hello everyone, this is Rivet Mapping. Welcome for the video summary for the day of 7, 8 and 9 April 2023. So we have a lot of interesting information today, but first I'm a bit sick, so if my voice is different or something like that, please excuse me for this. We have a geolocation in this area. So here you can see some sort of, I think, graveyard. I don't know what this thing is, but you see another a hangar here and some hangars right there, and it's actually this view. It's something like this, and this is interesting because these last days there has been a lot of footage saying that it has been taken at Vremivka. So here you see that it said Vremevskoye направление, so Vremivka front. First, Vremivka is this city. But first, I ask myself, why Vremivka and not Gran Novoselka or Velika Novoselka? Why this name and not the big city next to it? And the fact that there's a lot of videos from this place when most of the time there was no videos from this area uh, makes me think that there is currently a big offensive from the Russians and that we're going to see some map changes because these last days all I've seen, well, first there was the geolocation that we made, I think something like here, or yeah, in this area with the Ukrainians hiding in this place, and the Russian tank moving from here. There has been some videos saying like north of Novoselka. There has been videos and a lot of videos now from Vremivka front. So the Russians in this area are pushing everywhere on all fronts, it seems. Or the Ukrainians are trying to, from Vremivka, cut the Russians, attack from this place, like do a sort of pincer, which would explain why. So in the previous videos, there was Ukrainians here. So perhaps the goal of the Ukraine is just move like this and make this tree line the new front line. But we'll see. Uh, we'll see furthermore later if there is more videos, because I find it hard to geolocate in this area. It seems that a lot of things changed. A lot of things changed between what we see in the video and the map, like the Google map. And sometimes there is a new buildings that are not shown, that are not present in the map, or buildings that are destroyed in the front line but present in the map, which makes it really hard to geolocate things. In the Vuglidar front line, you have some videos of fightings as usual, and the usage of bombs by the Russian Air Force on the buildings. So we may expect soon Vugledar to fall, not due to Russian infantry attacks, but due to the Air Force, Russian Air Force attacks. In the AVDIIVKA front, there has been some modifications. So it's been a long time that we did not see any attacks toward Lastoshkine, which means that the Russians are not anymore in this area, which is why I modified the map. I moved back again the map. And I removed this because we did not have attacks toward Tunanke recently, and it seemed that the front line is really something like this. Sometimes around this, sometimes around this. It depends on which team, like which one is pushing. When it's the Russians pushing, it moves right here. When it's Ukraine's, moves right there. There's been a lot of changes of like ownership between these two tree lines. And moving north of there's been an interesting piece of news. So the news comes from I heard it in the video of Defense Politics Asia (DPA). So it said that the deep state UA geolocated Ukrainians or Russians here in this place, and that the front line is now like this tree line, which means that the Russians are not probably not holding Stepover anymore. And also, we have I geolocated from a video this thing that the Ukrainians were here. So let me show you what I found. So you see this tree line. So in the video, it said that it's around the city of Dzerzhinsk, and you see this tree line, this sort of railroad, uh, and another thing you see this tree line. So I'm going to show you the view, the exact view of this. I believe in the video you see something like this. There is the same view, and you see that Ukrainians were hit here by artillery. And it said in the video, yes, south of Dzerzhinsk. Dzerzhinsk is this city. You may know it by the name of Toretsk. I think Dzerzhinsk is the Russian name, Toretsk is the new Ukrainian name. So I moved back the front line, and the changes is this. So not a big change in the way that it's not. I did not map. I did not map like Ukrainian towns as Russian, just fields. But no, it's interesting because previously I mapped it like this because the Ukrainians kept saying attack on Novokalinove and on Keramik. And I told myself, if the attacks came just from these directions, they would just say Novokalinove. Why would they say Keramik? If they said both, is that there's perhaps two groups, one group moving up from north and one from south. But apparently no. Apparently when they say attack on Novokalinove and attack on Keramik, it's because this road is actually what separates Keramik and Novokalinove. And since the Russians are technically in, like next to, like attacking on these parts, then it counts as attacks on Keramik, but also counts as attacks on Novokalinove. Or perhaps the Russians are attacking Novokalinove from here and attacking Keramik from there, which explains why they say each times like Keramik and Novokalinove. So moving up north in the Bakhmut front line, we have attacks from the Russians toward Belayagora or Bilahora. So it's interesting because it shows that the previous Ukrainian counteroffensive in this area did not bring more results than this part. The counteroffensive did not push the Russians back in this area because if they manage to attack Belagora, it means that they either attacked from this place or from the north. I think that they attack from the north more than from this area because they are already attacking from Pretechne. They are already attacking to our Pretechne and also attacking to our Stopochki from this forest. And I think it will be logical that from this forest they might be also able to attack to our Belagora. So now in the Bakhmut front line, so the Russians are now holding everything east of the railroad, and the Ukrainians are still losing like terrain, land in this northern part, and also lost territories in this southern part. So it's confirmed that the Russians also now have captured all of these apartment blocks. So they also now hold these apartment blocks too. And um, what I think is that soon They might be like when I say soon, I say really in the next days. They will be able to hold this very quickly. They will also be able to capture these whole housing blocks. Perhaps it depends if they get like help from the forest here. If they do, they will be able to also move pretty quickly and get this. And the Ukrainians, which are holding in this area, will be able to hold a bit longer. And all right, I I've done it on purpose, but yeah, I really think that the Ukrainians anyway are going to hold very long um, in this area. I am serious, guys. They are going to hold because, as you can see, it's just like building blocks, housing blocks, and also I believe that the tunnels going from Bakhmut to Chasov Yar, yeah, actually like end up perhaps here or here. I really think it will be it. I really think the tunnels might even end up under the school here. Not because it's a school and well, it's mainly because first of all, it's a school, yes, and the Russians are not like technically they should not shell a school, but I mean there is nobody anymore there. But it's mainly because, as you see, the school is in the center of these building blocks, and especially this line of building apartment housing blocks, which form like create a sort of wall around the school, which is the perfect location if you want to like hold on the tunnel that protects that supply Bakhmut. So these are how the Ukrainians are holding, and the tunnel is somewhere right here. Perhaps there is also a tunnel here because also a school here. And again here, as you can see, there is a lot of building housing blocks here. So yeah, it's like a real fortress. Uh, I think this might actually hold long, but it didn't. It might hold long if the Ukrainians are like really into holding this place. But if the soldiers themselves don't really care anymore and really want just to leave Bakhmut, they will just themselves surrender and not fight as hard as they can. So now moving into Spirne or Spornoye, depends if you're Russian or Ukrainian. You have this geolocation. It was not hard because it directly said in the video Rayone Spornava. So it's in this Spirne, it's in this area. You see the lake here and another lake here. I think the lakes are still frozen. The lakes are still frozen, and that's why that's what you see in the pictures. So in this area, you don't have a lot of soldiers. I believe there is just like 20, no, not 20, more like 50 soldiers, Ukrainian soldiers, 50 or 60 Ukrainian soldiers inside of the town, and not a lot of Russian soldiers either around it. In this space, it's more like artillery duels, and nothing more than that. Um, you have also shelling on Belogorovka. Uh, you see this. Wait, you see this thing in the video. So just remember the shape of this road. Yeah, remember this road. Yeah, you see this thing. So there is a lot of shelling in this area. And the most interesting part is this. So if you compare with a lot of other mappers like Syriac maps or Weebinion, DPA War. I think even perhaps Deep State UA and Institute of War, Study of War ESW map. I think they show this place as this whole area as Russian. I believe that yeah, the Syriac maps, for example, which is one that is the most respected mapper, like show this part as Russian. And as you know, I did not since a while I did not show this part as Russian. For me, this part was always Ukrainian, and I even confirmed right because if you can see, I found a video. The video like came out yesterday, and in the video you see something like this. So there was an Ukrainian here that was shelled. So you see the building behind, the river on both sides, the tree, not the tree, the electrical lines here, the towers, electrical towers. So you see the towers here, and you see the building behind. So yes, the Ukrainians are here, and I actually changed the map because um, if you remember, the previous mapping was this. I know I was still right because I still showed this place as Ukrainian, but I don't know why I feel like this is not. This is perhaps not really the real border. Uh, Honestly, this change is meaningless. Don't take it into account. I just did it because I feel like perhaps there's still Ukrainians in this area too. But anyway, what's confirmed is that I was mapping it in the right way and the Ukrainians here. So all other mappers who show this place as who show like this area as Russian are wrong because a lot of mappers just map it like that, and yeah, they are wrong. It's not good, not very good. And there is this footage also, again from the Russians showing Ukrainians being shelled in this area. So yeah, the view is something like this, I think. So here's the footage.
Летят на мирных точки У и техника ЕСБУ. Жизнь на холодном тонком льду, такую делим мы судьбу. Но защитил простой мужик свой дом, свой берег, свой язык. Мы в этой битве победим, Донбасс Россией не делим. Повержен будет этот змей, и хоть нас меньше, мы сильней. Бойцы великой бывшей армии советской.
And if you see, there is a lot of, as I said previously, there's a lot of footage from this area. I really think that Ukrainians are on the offensive, like giving everything they can in this front line to show results, because they know the West won't be able to send them weapons, won't give them weapons if they just keep like losing cities. Because while on Twitter, people are like, "Whoa, Ukraine took back all of this." Everyone on Twitter, like and Reddit on Twitter, wow, amazing! The Ukrainians took back this place and this place. So strong, so powerful. But yes, they took back territory, but did they damage the Russian army? No, they did not. The Russian army just retreated. So in the end, they achieved nothing beside territorial gains. And NATO and the West and everything a bit serious understand that in this war, territory is not primary objective because both countries are next to one another. If the Russians like move back, what's the problem? They will still be at war. They will still be at war with Ukraine. The goal is to destroy the Ukraine army, or for Ukraine, the goal is to destroy enough the Russian army. If they don't manage, if one side don't manage to destroy the enemy side army, then the war will keep on going. So that's why Bakhmut, despite Bakhmut being just very small territorial gains, in like 4 months, there has been just what? Just this territorial gain. This territorial gains has more meaning than the entire Ukraine offensive in this place because in this offensive the Russians just moved out. They lost really little manpower, whereas in Bakhmut the Ukrainian lost a lot of manpower. The Russians too, of course, but less than Ukraine. And the Russians, even if you argue that the Russians lost much more soldiers, what you have to understand is that the soldiers Russians lost in this place are Wagner troops. They are prisoners. When a prisoner dies, it's not the same in your like. It's not as bad in your country than when a real soldier dies. Because when a prisoner dies, is I don't want to say that, but less people will care. People will say anyway they were just like prisoners, rapists, murderers, things like that. And also, when a soldier dies, well, you have to pay for the state has to pay his families, has to make sure the family has everything they need. It costs a lot of money. A soldier costs a lot of money. If a soldier dies, it's a lot of money to for the state to pay to the families of the victim. When it's a Wagner troops, what problem is it? Russia has not a lot of things to pay. It's not like a huge loss for Russia. And also, Bakhmut, I believe, has more Ukrainian loss than Russian loss because Ukrainians were stuck in this city with a lot of Russian artillery shelling the city constantly for months. And as you know, in this war, most of the deaths are from artillery. And as you also know, Russia has like a ratio of 5 to 1 in terms of artillery shelling. So it's very unlikely that the Ukrainians are actually the one having more losses. But anyway, this front line matters more uh, than the whole previous uh, offensive here. And that's why also Ukraine is trying to hold this place because they know that after Bakhmut there is these cities and they want to like bleed the Russians as much as they can here before they manage to get here. And for the people saying that uh, these these cities are bigger than Bakhmut, so it will be worse, no. The Ukrainians or the Russians sent everything they can to fight in Bakhmut. When they will all be fighting in all these cities, there is no reason that we're sending more. It's just that we'd be spread out in more places. They can't. Both sides gave like everything they can. The supplies, everything they can is the maximum they can do right here. When the front line will advance here, you will see as much soldiers, but just spread out on more parts. Both sides won't be able to send out more troops because for these troops you need supplies, you need vehicles, you need tanks, you need all everything like this. And right now both sides aren't really able to do anything more than what they already done in Bakhmut. So I think this front line, when the Russians will like if the Russians manage to move up until this part, the Ukrainians won't really be able to hold. Like they won't be. What I'm trying to say, there won't be 5 times more soldiers or the front line won't be as long as Bakhmut. There will be less soldiers, more spread out. The cities won't be as much shelled and affected by the fightings than Bakhmut. The fighting will be very much quicker. Yes, I believe this. And now, uh, I think that's all for today. So, oh yes, there is a geolocation here in Makivka. I almost forgot to talk about it. But you see this thing in the video, I think, yeah. So let me show you. So you see there is a field here, there is a tree line here, a tree line here, there is a river on the, like, behind. In the video it said that it's in Makivka, here. And there was Ukrainian troops in this area that got shelled. Two Ukrainians, I think, two or three Ukrainians. It was just a sort of a recon battalion, recon group. So the first picture you see is this, and the place where the Ukrainians got shelled is in this area, I think. And in the second picture, you could see that there is sort of opening in this tree line, and you can see it again here. So let me just show you the picture again. Yeah, you see this opening? It's this one. So yeah, it was just a recon group from the Ukrainians, but nothing much, nothing else. And yeah, there has been a lot of fighting recently in Makiivka, but right now I'm not hearing a lot about it. I thought that perhaps the Russians would like uh, go on the offensive right here, but no, apparently not. Also, there's not a lot. I did not hear any fightings toward Nevsky, or perhaps I did not look, but there is still fightings in this area. So that's why there is this part as Russian. And if you see, there is this like a riverbed that makes a good boundary. So that's why the Ukrainians are managing to advance in this part. So yeah, and also there's been a map change here. So the map change is this one. Uh, since the Ukrainians recon group managed to advance by foot up until here, it means that in this tree line there is no Russians. That's why I moved it back. And if I moved all this field back, it's because, well, there is no Russians here too. So the Russians might be just up until these tree lines. Yeah, I believe it's like this. So thanks for watching, and see you for the next update. Bye bye.